Good evening. I'm sitting here with my black cat as we approach secular Halloween. And yeah, I was going to say I was getting my last minute instructions from our feline overlords, but he decided to lay down beside me instead of above me. Tonight, I want to talk about the harvest, specifically around the season of fall. It's amazing how, when we think about the season of fall, especially here in the Northeast US, we often think of all the splendor of the trees. It's a little odd since at some level the trees are experiencing a form of death in that the sap pulls back and the leaves change colors before they then fall off and become compost. But in their decline, they have that last bit of glorious color. And I think of it as a reflection of the promise of spring, that the colors of fall are reminded that spring is still ahead. So, yeah, this is where things start their journey toward repose, but do not lose hope, is what nature is saying. And so, the splendor of the second harvest is that little reminder that it's still safe to hope. It's not over. Then, of course, comes the final harvest. The final harvest, which can be read in many ways. For those of us approaching the later phases of our life, not knowing how much time is left, we say to ourselves, you know, you need to start getting things done. But it also traditionally means you need to start putting things away and restocking, start preparing for winter. For as sure as there's spring, summer, and fall, winter is not far behind. And so the three harvests not only allow us to reap, but they also to teach us. And I know I've said it many times, and I'll say it even more again, that if you want to understand spirituality, look at nature. All the lessons are there. And we celebrate fall's foliage by understanding what the harvests are about at all stages. And that is an urging to prepare, but is also a promise of what is to come. And there's this great song um, by Starhawk that hopefully I'll be able to sing later called The Wealthy Ones. And many cultures, when they have the harvest, not always at the same time of year as ours, but there is a usual practice of taking the bounty and piling it up somewhere and just looking at it. Like all the apples, for the apples from the orchard are piled up, or the corn is piled up, or the wheat is gathered together, just piling it up. Because we need to be reminded of how well we have been treated by the earth. We need to remember how much we have received from all the work that we put in. And it didn't matter if your farm did poorly and another farm did well. Often that same table or spot was used to display all the fruits of the collective labor. It was like a statement of, we have reaped. And sometimes it's hard for us to imagine what is on our harvest table, especially when we only look at that one underperforming patch, or something newly planted that did not grow quite right, or something that's maybe on a cheer cycle is not ready yet. Sometimes we need to be reminded of all we truly have. And this is especially true now in our current economic climate. We need to be reminded of all we have in our Western society, where we take so many things for granted. We need to remember that all of us, every single person listening to me, if we were transported to another country, a second or third world country, we would be the wealthy ones. Not that our difficulties are not real, but that difficulty is not all there is, and we need to be reminded of that. And that's the reference to the song by Starhawk called Demeter's Song. Demeter is the Greek goddess of agriculture. And especially for those of us living in this time, we do not get how phenomenal it was for humans to discover agriculture. Just imagine if you had to keep moving in order to find food. Like you could never settle anywhere because once you ate up the food available, it was gone. And then you would have to just keep wandering in pursuit of food, never being able to put down roots. So you can imagine the faith, the leap of faith it was for someone to actually put something in the ground and then wait for it to root and sprout and blossom and later produce what could be eaten. The gift of agriculture was a fundamental gift of life. And the gods of agriculture were looked upon not only as the givers of food, but also the givers of laws and civilization. The entire human species changed when they were given agriculture. So Demeter was a pretty big deal to the ancient Greeks and the previous uh, nations that held her in high esteem. But and every culture that has an agricultural deity, that god was usually pretty central. And I just see where my voice is. And that's why I want to share this song from Star. I may, break at certain places, but you'll get the idea. I am the wealthy one. I am the wealthy one. All that I have, I give to you. Blossom and bud, the leaf and the promise of fruit to come, the corn and the wheat, the grass and the earth beneath your feet. I am the wealthy one. I am the wealthy one. All that you have, I give to you. Rhythm and form, the lover's smile and the worker's arm, your blood and your bread, pleasure, sorrow, birth, and death. I am the wealthy one. I am the wealthy one. All that I am in you. The change that frees, the heart that cries, and the hand that heals, the eye that sees truth, the power to destroy and to renew. I am the wealthy one. I am the wealthy one. All that I am in you. This is a beautiful song. I hope I give it its due credit. But we are the wealthy ones. We have been given so much. The promise of Demeter has not ended. The promise has not been taken back. We can learn to live in a more sustainable manner. We can learn to live in harmony with others on this planet, but we need to remember always what we have already been given because we are the wealthy ones. Maybe not in coin, but in community, in education, in comfort, and in safety, in spirit and flesh. We are the wealthy ones. There was a way I was taught, and it's also in Wendy Palmer's book, Intuitive Body, that says if you ask for something as if you do not already have it, you cannot receive more. You can only receive more of what you already have. So whenever you ask for something, you always ask, may I have more of whatever it is? Because that means that you acknowledge what you have already been given. For example, I often joke about my lack of patience. Apparently, I had to admit that I have a great deal of patience because now I'm always asking for more patience and more balance and more rest and recovery. We need to acknowledge what we have received. We need to be able to see ourselves, even in our stories about our loss, sacrifice, and devastation, that we are still the wealthy ones. We are the wealthy ones. We are the wealthy ones. All that I am depends on you. Yeah, Demeter. And that is Demeter's message to us, that her ability to give to us depends on our ability to receive and acknowledge what has already been given. And that is the message from the rich foliage of fall. I have already given you spring and summer, and now I give you the harvest. Blessings of the harvest. Thank you.